what I mean about socializing them. They need to see cows, horses, lawnmowers, weed eaters, big trucks, trains. What you don't want to do, I train him, or the owner keeps him there at his house and basically keeps him in his backyard, and he's never seen anything. Then he takes him on his first dove hunt in corn stubble, and right next to him is a cow over there mooing, and he can't even concentrate at what he's doing that you've worked so hard for because he's looking at that cow. He's never seen a cow before.
What is up, everybody? Coming in hot here because the weather is actually getting hot. We went about 0 to 80 degrees, I feel, around here, Jim. But we're also coming in hot because we're going to talk about a couple of our favorite things here at Vortex, and that's hunting and man's best friend. Now, I know a lot of folks out there have brand new dogs this year. Jim, you've got a new pup that you're getting trained up, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So across from us, we have virtually two experts in the dog training / retriever hunting arena. We've got Chad Belding from the Fowl Life, and we've got Brad Arrington from Mossy Pond Retrievers. Now, Chad, it sounds like you've run a lot of your dogs through Brad's programs, and it sounds like these programs are just stellar for building the ultimate retriever. So we are just absolutely pumped to talk about all this stuff. But before I ramble on forever, Chad, you've been on the podcast before. Brad got a first-timer here, which is awesome. We're super stoked to have you. So let's go, I guess, from our right to left. Brad, tell us a little bit about Mossy Pond and what you have going on there.
Well, thank y'all for having me on this morning. We are a retriever training business. We started in 2003. I started the business myself right out of high school and grew the business through the years. And we have evolved into a plantation where we can, and how we got into that is through training dogs. We actually started hunting on our place with our customers that would come in and start learning how to operate their dogs. So we started taking these guys out hunting where they would understand how to operate their dog. And if they got in a bind, one of our trainers, myself or one of the trainers, would be there to educate them and show them how to discipline the dog or correct the dog or show the dog or teach the dog how to do the task at hand without getting fouled up, or and the handler, teach the handler. That it seems like that's the biggest problem, is just making sure that that handler is the communication is properly done. So we started by training dogs, then we got into hunting, and now we train from 100 to 130 dogs year round. We also have a place in Newburgh, New York, that we summer up there with our competition dogs. But we do from obedience dogs for small breeds all the way up to, your gun dogs, your advanced gun dogs, and all the competitions. We run UKC hunt test, AKC hunt test, the SRS, field trials, you name it. We also do all the gun dog breeds, the pointing breeds. We are all up in the dog business, that's for sure.
Yeah, you guys definitely have a deep lineup of programs there. And then, Chad, real quick, tell us a little bit about what you have going on and maybe how you met Brad.
Yeah, we had, the hunting industry is so small in a way to where the networking is pretty awesome. And, one duck hunter led to another duck hunter, and one of my buddies in Missouri said, "Hey, I want you to meet this guy Brad from Mossy Pond in Georgia." So we started putting together some phone calls, and one thing led to the next. We were hunting in Texas, and he brought a dog out there and showcased him, and we filmed on TV with a Major League Baseball player named Andrew Kashner. And I was just so impressed with the professionalism and the communication and what these dogs were able to do. And it just kind of motivated me to get more ingrained. It's easy to cut corners when you have so much going on. And I felt like at that time in my hunting career, one of the corners I was cutting was the sporting dog or duck dog, if you would. And Brad and his team down there, he's got some amazing trainers that work with him. His wife, Ellen, they run a business and a program, and more importantly, just like a camaraderie, and they make you feel like family once you're part of it. And to me, a dog is man's best friend, like you started with, Mark, but it's also a conservation tool. And I want to be prepared on every hunt to be ethical and show compassion and respect for the resource and the animals. I don't believe in leaving cripples in the field. I don't believe in giving up on cripples, because it happens. One might get caught in crossfire. One might, be tougher than we think that our ammo is. And these dogs can do things that a human being would never be able to do, with their accuracy, with their nose, with their ability to never, ever give in. And they just find the birds. And to see it done the proper way, and what Brad and his team does with these dogs, I was absolutely blown away. And here we are 7 or 8 years later. I just received a video this morning from one of Brad's trainers, Clark Kennington. He's working one of my dogs, Axel, down there, who's a master hunter, a hunter retriever champion. And he sent me some videos that literally, I have goosebumps talking to you, no pun intended. Like, I'm fired up to watch Axel again. And when Brad mentioned SRS and things of that nature, I'm excited to see where this career of these dogs have the potential to go. And we owe a lot of it to Mossy Pond, and the relationship has been beneficial on both sides, and I'm very proud of it.
That's cool, man. No, I can feel your excitement. Your goosebumps gave me goosebumps. That's super cool.
You got a hair trigger on your goosebumps.
I get excited, Jim.
A little premature.
It really is amazing what all the what a dog can do. And you've got so many different kinds of breeds and so many different specialties that they can all sort of get themselves into. Of course, there's some dogs, it seems, that just end up being sort of Swiss Army knife of all sorts of different things. But going through a place that actually trains them professionally year round, like you guys do there at Mossy Pond, is really cool. And I think, a lot of people out there who hunt, many of them have a dog, and they think, boy, wouldn't it be really awesome if this dog could join me on some hunts and really know, like, if I could know how to communicate with it and get it to do certain things that I really want it to do. But it takes quite a bit of work to get there. What is it like for somebody who is sending a dog to a place like you guys there at Mossy Pond? Like, what do they have to expect if they're going to go that route of not doing it themselves, sending it to you guys, which honestly is probably going to be like I don't know, for most people, the best way to go. What's that like? Like, how many weeks do you think does it usually happen, and all that stuff?
Yeah, I definitely think it's the best way. There's a lot of programs out there that are short, and there's a lot of, we do private lessons here as well, where a guy can come out and I can help him. But to really get the foundation done, I would definitely always recommend using a good professional trainer and getting that foundation. Our foundation programs for our gun dog is 4 months. And what you're going to get on that, you're going to get all your leash training. You're going to get your obedience. You're going to get your collar condition, where the dog understands what the collar means, how it works. And we do all the inside obedience as well in this 4-month program. Sit here, heel down, kennel, quiet. Company comes over, knocks on the door. You say place. He goes down the hallway into the mud room, lays on his place board. You visit with your company. Company leaves, you ask him to get up or come in the room, or if you wanted to invite him in the room with the company, he comes in, you say down, he lays down, and he's a polite gentleman or a lady while they're in the room, and not jumping all over everybody. We have very high expectations for what we want the dogs to do. A lot of people get the misconception that they can't be dogs, they can't play, and they can't run around and jump on the couch and play, roll around on the floor with you, and that's definitely not the case. We love dogs. That's why I'm in the business. I like to roll around and love on them. But when I do ask them, I'm getting up for church in the morning, I got my Sunday best on. I also don't want him to roll out there in the mud puddle and come jump on me. Mm-hmm. So to be able to do that, where I'm not having to scream, where I'm not having to holler, and I simply ask him to lay down while I get in my car out in the carport or out in the garage, as opposed to have to scream or take my kids and, hey, everybody run to the car where Rover doesn't jump on us. It's our expectations are high, whether that's at the home or out in the field. So to answer your question, we bring them in 4 months. We want the owner to be involved. We actually built a lodge before we started hunting here on the property. and we want the owner to be here as much as he can be here. A lot of my first questions are, how often can I come visit the dog? You can stay at the lodge every day. We got 16 beds. Stay here with us. We want you to be involved. The more you're involved, the better our product's going to be when we send it back home. And the lodge was built to make sure that customer would come back and spend a day or two and let me teach them how to operate the dog. What happened is I would send that dog home and I'd do follow-up calls, and I'd call that guy and I'd be like, hey, how's your dog doing? And he'd be like, Brad, we just don't have, many places to hunt, or, I really don't. If I say this to him, he's not doing it. And if I say come, he's not coming. And I'm like, well, and this was the early years. I was like, well, he doesn't know come. We taught him here. And after I picked up on that, after a year or two, I said, we got to make sure these guys come in, these ladies come in and spend 2 or 3, 4 or 5 days with us and know exactly how to operate and communicate with their dogs when they take them home. And since we've done that, that has really ramped our product up at the top. And whether that's an obedient dog for inside the home or a gun dog, just a basic gun dog, probably 80% of our customers is what they want is a companion, 80%, and a gun dog, 20%. It's part of the family. It's, and having one that obedient, everybody, it's a pleasure to be around. Everybody wants to be around your dog when he's obedient. Nobody wants to be around a dog that's disobedient. So if I can train that dog in 4 months, that's our most popular program, to be obedient, whether you're grilling on the back porch, whether you're inside with your family about to go to bed, or you're out there on that duck hunt, and he's not breaking, he's not jumping in front of other dogs, he's not jumping in front of out of those pit blinds in front of the muzzle, and he's not whining in the blind. That's what we want to do, and then to teach the owner how to operate that dog. So our 4-month program is our basic program. Then it goes up to 8 months. That gives you the hand signals on the long cripples that the dog didn't mark. That gives you, you run the hand signals, blow the whistle, the dog turns around and sits. And then we go from there. There's a lot of stuff. The dual breed dogs, like your German short hairs, that they want those dogs to dove and duck hunt on the retrieving end, but they also want them to point. Those programs last from 10 to 12 months. The draw thire, that are very versatile dogs, the tracking the deer, the pointing the upland game and retrieving your ducks, that game can last that program 12 to 14 months. And then your competition dogs, it just depends on how serious you want to get with it. There are dogs here that stay off and on 5-6 years with us, running the Super Retriever Series, running the advanced field trials, running the national events for the hunt test games. And if he does stay here that long, those are the guys I really push to come and be more involved. That guy, I want him to be in and out of this lodge and on and off our property at least multiple times a month, and learning how to operate, getting the communication down where him and his dog are like a dance. They dance when they go in the field at a field trial. They're dancing when they're out there in the duck blind. And if they can be involved like that, that secures my product, my hard work, my guys, all my team that's working their butt off, blood, sweat, and tears. We know for a fact that our product's secure if we can teach that owner.
Mm-hmm. Man, it really is amazing when you see an owner and a dog working together so like you said, like a dance.
It's just in sync,
In sync. Now, I know, going back to what you were talking about with a dog being a good dog, like a gentleman or a lady to be around, not being a pain in the butt, jumping all over you, doing all kinds of disobedient stuff. That's really, if we're going into, like you were talking about, if it's just an 80% companion dog or even just 100% companion dog, that's what everybody really wants. And I feel like a lot of times, just in the research I've tried doing with our dogs, we've got 2 setters. One of them, who's a total house lap dog, my wife loves her. Like, she's probably not gonna hunt, but the other one, I'm trying to work on a few things here and there, but anyway, I know, like, in what I've read, a lot of times people end up being the problem, and the things that make a dog be disobedient, and how they go about reacting to certain things the dog does. And I've heard things like the dog is basically always in this position where it's trying to figure out who's alpha, who's in charge. And if a person who's their owner doesn't step up, it seems like the dog is kind of like, well, maybe it's me. I got to be the one who's in charge. And sometimes things that the dog does that people think is cute, or people think is, oh, the dog's excited to see me, that's why it's leaning into me and wiggling around and bumping into everybody and jumping. That's just, they're excited to see me. We keep applying these like human personality traits to the dog. That's where things start to break down. Is that sort of how it works? I mean, I'm curious your thoughts on, and how you guys go about seeing those behaviors in dogs.
Yeah, yes, definitely. You know, we want a dog that, you know, is not shy or skittish from us. He's, you know, ears up, tail wagging, face smiling, but at the same time, we want him to respect us. And, you know, it's kind of like humans, but a little bit more so with dogs and animals, that the respect actually overrides what people think like love. For example, a funny thing I do with a lot of my lady customers is they'll say, oh, was he still going to remember me? Is he still going to love me and stuff? So after they've been there a month or two, I'll tell them, you know, you go roll around in the yard with him, love on him. And, you know, I've took him and I have loved on him, but I've also showed him right from wrong and asked him to do what the task at hand on my terms, and do it the way I want it to do. And so what we'll do, so she'll love on him and she'll give him a treat, and I'll sit over there in a chair and I'll let her sit in a chair, and I'll let one of my trainers turn him out. He's only been there 30 days at this point, and she's raised him. She's cooed him and cuddled him his whole life. And I've only had him for 30 days. And the rule is she can't say a word and I can't say a word. And when the trainer lets him out, he might walk around for a little bit, but every time without fail, he always comes to me. And that's part of that alpha deal. Just like these documentaries on gorillas and wolves and coyotes and stuff you watch, they always look for reassurance out of that alpha. That's the alpha pack leader. And that's how it works with dogs. And a lot of people don't understand that. But, you know, and that doesn't mean you have to be ugly to them. That doesn't mean you have to mistreat them or scold them all the time. But just like that big alpha female wolf, you know, at her cubs, you know, she won't ever bite them, but she will stand over them and hold them down when they're acting unruly or getting out of hand. And that's basically what we do. We actually submit dogs, and all that is holding that wild puppy, 6 months old that we've all seen. All we do is submit him and hold him down until he finally gives up and quits wiggling. And we're not hurting him. We can even talk sweet to him while we do it. But, you know, after time, and we give them 4 and 5 lessons a day, after a month of that and a month of them showing them who's boss and look, we're going to take care of you. We're going to feed you. We're going to water you. We're going to have fun together. But at the same time, when I say it, you're going to do it my way. You know, that's when those dogs really fall in love, or, you know, the respect part takes over, and that alpha goes a long ways with animals.
Yeah. And I one thing I've heard is once that dog knows its place, it's actually like in a better mindset. Like it's got a happier dog. It's a happier dog. It's more comfortable. It's like, yeah, I've got it figured out. Here's where I fit in the pack. Is that kind of where they end up?
Oh, definitely. You know, the dogs are so much happier, and they're at peace. You know, it's like, if not, they're unsure of their place. The way that we do it, you know, humans are definitely alpha, but we don't want the dog skittish either. You know, there are in the past I've seen dogs with other amateurs, you know, come up there and the dog's scared to death, and the guy's like, well, he does exactly what I said. And I said, yeah, but y'all have no relationship. I mean, he does it because he's scared you're going to beat him. You know, I don't want that. I want a happy dog, eyes glowing, ears up, tail wagging, and he still does it. He's my buddy, but I'm his coach. You know, I'm his drill sergeant. He knows I'll go to war for him. I'm there for him. I'll protect him. But at the same time, when I ask you to do it, it's yes, sir. We doing it the way that he says, and that's what I want.
Yep. You're talking a little bit about, once you kind of go through that process and the dog coming to you because you're the alpha, how does that baton get handed off to the owner then? Is that you teach them kind of the stuff that you've, how to command the dog and work the dog, and then once they get home, does that transition smoothly, or is there an adjustment period there, or how does that work?
When I was first starting off in my early years, it was just me by myself, and now we have eight trainers. And one thing that I learned, at the handoff period, even though after I figured out that I needed to spend time with the owner, it was still tough. The dog, I would transfer the dog back over, and they were still having some problems, and we'd have to go visit, or I'd have to drive to their home, and they'd be out of state, and to help them, because I was so, I'm all about my brand and all about our product. But after I had multiple trainers and we passed these dogs around before they go home, and then we take that 3 or 4 or 5 days of them staying here in the lodge and camp with us and us teaching them, it's piece of cake, easy. They know if a human says it and he says it properly and he commands it properly, it's smooth as silk. So all of my dogs are trained by everybody, all the trainers on the property. And when they're done that way, and then the owner will spend 3 or 4 days with me, they work better for the owner than they work for me, because the owner, they did raise them and they did. So the little funny little thing I do with the owners, where we sit in the 2 chairs, by the end, when I transfer that respect over to her or over to the new owner, and then we sit in the chairs, they definitely go to them at that point. And, I revisit that to show them that they got the respect. But it just cooing, cuddling them and loving on them and giving them treats, they don't love you and respect you as much as the alpha in the pack.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there is a big thing with just the respect of a dog, and when you feel that you have it with a dog, it feels so much better. Like you were saying, Mark, I know there's so many character traits of dogs that I think people tend to look at as, like I was saying before, like cute, or, oh, it loves me because it does this. And it really is actually the dog disrespecting the owner oftentimes. And it takes a lot of patience, like it takes the patience, especially if you want your dog to be performing and doing some of the stuff that you guys are training dogs to do. It takes a lot of patience. And you're talking about having them there training for months at a time. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but then I'm going to miss it for that many months or whatever, or having to drive down and go and spend a couple of days, or even when you get the dog back, realizing that it's not just sort of like, well, the dog trained for 4 months, so now it's going to be good for the rest of its 12-year lifespan.
Right.
I can just leave it at home and go to work and never train it again, and just at any given time I can snap my fingers and it's back into like furry missile mode. Like, there's a lot of patience that goes into it, and I feel like people have to be willing to dedicate that time and attention to the dogs, because otherwise you just get people who are kind of like, I got this dog and I don't get it, it's just, it won't listen to me, it won't whatever, and then you end up with a problem.
Yeah, and it sounds like kind of like, an option is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I think one reason why people, number one, they don't have the tools and the knowledge to train a dog properly, and also like you said, Jim, time. Like, that's a big commitment, consistency. So when some of these folks are sending a dog to you, and they probably oftentimes don't have a lot of time, they can fire it off to you for that, 4 months, which might seem like forever at first, but really it's 4 months to have a really good dog at the end of the day, or even longer depending on the program that the dog is in. But then they can kind of come out for that 4 days at the end and kind of like soak it all in and do it that way. It sounds like that is an option, versus like, I guess I'm thinking from my perspective, like I live in Wisconsin here. If I wanted to send a dog to you, Brad, at Mossy Pond, I wouldn't have to like do like 3 or 4 trips to visit the dog and kind of learn how to run it. Or is that a good idea?
Oh, if you could do it, depending on, how busy life is, but it is mandatory. We do ask that at the end you have to spend 4 days with us, or there's no reason for us to train the dog for you if you're not going to come out and spend the 4 days.
Yeah.
But no, if you could come out during the time, that's great. But if not, the 4 days at the end is what's the most important. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Chad, how much have you been going out there and hanging out with your dog, Axel?
Being transparent with my life, I depended on Brad a lot. And I was lucky because with the Fowl life, Brad would meet me out places and hunt and bring the dogs to us. So it gave me that bonding time. I bonded with Axel, when he was a puppy, and then he went back to Georgia and went through the, boot camp. And then we started bringing him out on hunts early, but not hunting him, just getting him around camp, socialization, which is a big thing that Brad's going to talk about, I'm sure. But the social part of a dog was huge to me, seeing that. And Brad was very disciplined on not letting him get right into the hunt. So as time went on, and Axel's 4 now, he went on his first hunt when he was 3. So that's pretty old for a dog, but there was a lot of ideology that went into there and a mindset that Brad had with his competition career and the levels that we wanted to get Axel to. He went on his first hunt when he was 3, and then he hunted with me all season, this last season. So Brad brought him out here last October, and we spent 2.5 days of the handoff of drills and transitioning that. And when I said I want to be transparent, is that it's easy, but it's repetition, and it's easy for a guy to go, oh, that dog's unbreakable. He's going to be fine when we go hunting. And dogs, no matter how much of a Superman they are going to make mistakes. So patience is a virtue. And I learned really quick that, hey, I got to stay on this. I got to commit time to this. I got to dedicate time to this and make sure that I get out in the field and practice with Axel on off days. And that's what I started doing. We started incorporating him into whether we were filming tips or whether we were doing anything. He was always incorporated. And the next thing you know, he performed unbelievable all season, and it was just a joy to see it. So yeah, it's one of those things that where I didn't get to get out there much during his training career in Georgia. I went out there a couple weeks ago and hunted turkeys with Brad and brought Axel back to him, and saying bye to Axel sucked. But I know that when he comes back to me in September, it's going to be that much better. So it's a mindset that you have to have. There's a lot of breakup periods and there is some heartbreak in it, but the process is so worth it.
Yeah. What as far as getting a dog ready to go on hunts, I am curious the process that you guys have. So like in that case, you guys waited for a little while to get him socialized and before he actually went on his first hunt. So yeah, the socialization process, and I know one thing that a lot of people are probably wondering, and they're wondering how we've made it this far in the podcast without bringing it up yet, but like gun breaking a dog, getting him used to being around firearms and loud noises, or sort of that chaos of maybe a bunch of birds coming in, or whatever it might be. How are you going about that process? What's the ideology behind it?
So just like Mr. Chad said, socializing a pup and a dog is the most important thing. What I see is when dogs aren't used to a distraction or used to something or not accustomed to it, that's when they get distracted and can't be taught, or they lose focus. They are very smart, intelligent animals, but they lose focus very easily. So at a young age, for like the noise stuff, a lot of our breeders and myself, we put pie plates in the kennels when they're 5 weeks old, when they start moving around on strings where they'll bump into things, making loud noises, where they're doing it. But it's, when we feed them and stuff like that. And, what I mean about socializing them, they need to see cows, horses, lawnmowers, weed eaters, big trucks, trains, anything. What you don't want to do, I train him, or the owner keeps him there at his house and basically keeps him in his backyard, and he's never seen anything. Then he takes him on his first dove hunt, and he's out there in the field in corn stubble, and right next to him is a cow over there mooing, and he can't even concentrate at what he's doing that you've worked so hard for, because he's looking at that cow. He's never seen a cow before. Or you're out there in the yard and you're working the dog, and a guy, your neighbor's using a weed eater. He's never seen it before. Socializing a dog and letting him be around loud noise and letting him be around those things and easing him into it. Don't be in a hurry. There's a guy on a lawnmower. Let's pick the puppy up and go sit on the lawnmower. I'm not saying that. Just ease him into it, socialize him to it. And those louder noise will make him easier to break for the gunfire. And of course, the gunfire is the same way. You know, we start off at 200 yards from gunfire. And when we hear it, we give them something that they love. Hopefully with a retriever, it's a ball, it's a toy, it's a Kong, it's a live quail, something that he's just nuts about, that we've figured out that that's his tick. And whatever his tick is, that's what we give him when we start introducing that loud noise. And then we get closer and closer and closer until we can get where the loud noise, the bang of the gun, is giving the reward, like the animal or the duck or whatever it may be, or his bumper, or his and that's how we ease them into it. But it's a lot of patience, a lot of reps, and a slower process than what even a lot of people think. A lot of people think, well, I'll go and I'll get my buddy out there at 400 yards and I'll shoot a 22 tomorrow. We'll throw him something, and then by the end of the week, we're going to shoot a 12 gauge over him and throw a bumper out there. That's not the case. I mean, we give these dogs 4 and 5 reps 6 days a week, 4 and 5 reps a day, 6 days a week. And you count those reps up over a month or two, that's a lot of reps. By the end of the 4 months, you know, he's heard 1,000 rounds go off. He's seen lawnmowers, weed eaters, cows, horses. All of our dogs are loaded up on dog rigs every day and taken to we have a rotation. We go to a different place every day. Some is like a park atmosphere with cars. It's in town. Some is, you know, corn stubble atmosphere. Some is like kind of like a neighborhood. Our place, we have several different up there around the lodge. We always have 4 and 5 customers in at all times. So a lot of our obedience dogs, we're inside the lodge. As soon as the customers wake up at 8 o'clock, we're in the lodge working on place and down, and they see these people. So then when they get back home and somebody walks past them, or somebody walks past them with breakfast or a cup of coffee, they don't freak out. They've seen it hundreds of times. So socializing, what Mr. Chad said, that's the number one thing, and that goes right into the gun shyness. You know, if the puppy's brought up properly, it's easy. Now, the puppy, he gets to 6 weeks old, the guy or the lady, their life's so busy, they pet the puppy in the morning, they feed it, and they go to work, and they get home at dark, let it out for 5 minutes, pet it, and feed it, and put it back in there. And then when it becomes 8 or 10 months old, they want to go out in the dove field with it, and they shoot. That's the gun shy dog.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, and there's a lot of things I tell these people, they don't want to send them off or don't have the funds to send them off to me. And I said, pay a young person after they're out of school or in the summer to take that puppy to the park, take him to Tractor Supply, take him to Bass Pro Shop. Just take the puppy places. And I understand people at work, they don't have time, but take these puppies and these young dogs and socialize them, and you won't have any of these problems where they're scared of something.
Mm-hmm. And I'll add to that real quick, Mark and Jim, is the other thing that I love about Brad's program. And Brad will be the first one to tell you that there's other dog trainers in the country. Okay, there's guys that have been mentors to Brad, and there's guys that Brad mentors now. He's one of the best there is. But one of the things I was most impressed about is that you talk about excitement, and you talk about a part of hunting that's so much different than turkey hunting or deer hunting. When you're in a deer stand by yourself and you got to keep yourself, you know, awake for 8 hours in Wisconsin, which I think is the most heavily hunted deer state in the country. There's a lot that goes in to a waterfowl hunt. And when Axel comes out of that kennel and he sees 1,000 snow goose decoys with 200 speck decoys, 8 ground blinds, 8 Benellis, 8 dudes that think that they can call better than the other guys, so they're all calling. Then you got the moo cow, then you got the eagle, then you got the train going by. I was like, holy smokes. Like, I watched Brad training, like, he's got that dry land spread at his facility. He's got that water decoy spread at his facility. Nothing was tricking this dog. Like, he got out and said, oh, I've seen this.
Yeah, no surprises.
And
super chill.
And like 200 snow geese come in. We killed 15 of them. He slays there. You talk about discipline to sit there through that, right? And not break when that many geese are coming in and then that many gunshots go off. And again, he's been worked into this. This isn't day one, you know, and he hasn't seen this before. This is a mature dog that's been trained the right way. So that it's so impressive to see that. And the number one thing that comes to mind is a mistake can happen at any time, and it happens every duck season. And when you have a dog that stays there with all of that excitement going on, man, it just gives you this reassurance and confidence that this really could be the best hunt of the season because that dog is performing the way he is. So I just wanted to throw that out there. The duck and goose hunting, man, there's a lot going on, and these dogs are so prepared for it coming out of Mossy Pond.
It's amazing, really.
That's super cool. Like you said, they've seen it all before. Well, so for the socialization, which I think, like you said, is so important, like what is the optimum age to, like, it sounds like that's kind of step one, and like what's the optimum age? It sounds like 4 months is about when you like to receive a dog, but should a person start some of that earlier than, getting that dog to you, or what, like, I guess what's that time bracket?
5-week mark for the breeder, for these good breeders that, are doing the right things. That's when they start coming out of the whelping box and taking little walks, out in the yard. That's when they start, put a decoy out there that they fall over, that they walk up to and smell. Lay a shotgun shell, lay a gun out there, let them smell the gunpowder, stuff like that. With my great breeders, I mean, it starts at 5 weeks old.
Wow.
And then at 8 weeks old, the pup goes home to the new owner. And then from 8 weeks to 12 weeks, there's no discipline, no structure. From 8 to 12 weeks with the owner is just socializing. So you're taking that pup in your car everywhere you can go. Taking him and letting him see all these things. At 12 weeks old, we do start some, some positive training, treat training, some basic sit, some basic heel with treats. It's all on their watch. We're not making them do anything. And, at that point, we're really getting them excited about retrieving a toy or a ball, whatever, and use 6 or 8 different things and see what he likes the best. And then at that point, that's what we use as his reward, just like a drug dog or anything like that cone, whatever it may be. It may be a little stuffed animal duck, but at 12 weeks old, we know what that is. And then everything that we ask him to do, that's what we give him. We give him a little retrieve or a little fun retrieve. And then when we're showing him and socializing him to new things, at first he might be a little skittish or stand off from that lawnmower. But then after we hang out for an hour or two and do it 2 or 3, 5 days in a row, then we'll start giving him that toy around it. And then before we know it, when he hears it, he's looking up at you. All right, throw the toy. And then it's on to the next. And hopefully, if my owners will talk to me during the puppy process, they have the puppy so socialized by the time I get him. And we do wait until 5 or 6 months old before we like to bring them in. But then at 5 or 6 months old, man, my trainers in and off their trucks, in and off of their dog trucks, their trailers, and which environment we go to, we have a very socialized dog where we can go to work immediately, as opposed to we take the puppy off and he's looking around like, oh my gosh, I'm in outer space, So socializing starts at 5 weeks old and it continues their whole life.
Yep. Well, and then I was going to ask, kind of right with that, if a person is maybe going, oh man, I kind of did this wrong. I should have done more things. I should have socialized. I should have taken more places, whatever. If you've kind of missed that window, is there still hope? Can you still kind of get back that, or have you missed out on something there?
No, everybody gets hung up on the obedience side of it. And don't get me wrong, when you see one of our dogs, whether and it's done with a program, that is the most important part, the obedience side of it. But getting to that point, there's a lot of steps before that. And the steps before that is the socializing. So if a guy, he's got a dog that's a year old and he's really been working in his backyard on sit here and heel and force fetch and collar condition, I would say, look, you got plenty of time. Take a month or 2 off and let's really socialize him. Let's take him out there in those environments. Okay, it's July. Let's still go out to our duck lease. Let's get in that pit blind. Let's get in that duck boat. What you don't want, you go, all your buddies excited, December 1 or whatever, and y'all go to duck camp. You go to load the duck boat, and the dog's never been in a duck boat before. Well, old Rover, I've spent thousands of hours on him, and he's great in the yard. And back at duck camp last night when we all came in, I showed all my buddies how great he was, but I can't even get him in the duck boat. Well, that's pretty embarrassing. And all it is a socializing thing. It's not a taught thing. It's not anything that we're going to – now, we teach our dogs a certain place in the boat to place, where he's not up and down the boat knocking guns out of people's hands and stumbling over decoy bags. But him in and out of the boat, that's just a socializing thing. That's just, and what I tell everybody, practice like you play. So if you're going to see mechanical decoys in the field when you hunt, is that how you hunt? You need to see them in training. If you see boats, you need to be in and out. Take the boat off the trailer, lay it on the ground, let him go in and out of it every day for a month. If you see, electronic calls, you need to get him around those electronic calls. Anything that he could see in the field, you got to socialize him to. There's so many people that I help through the phone call and private lessons that they'll have the dog trained, but then when they go duck hunting, I'll call them and I'm like, how'd it go? And they said it was a disaster. It was awful. I couldn't get him in the duck boat. As soon as the mechanical decoy started going off, he ran out there and tried to jump up and attack it. He was trying to, and all it is he's never seen one.
Yeah.
So socializing is, I would say, just as important or more important than the training side.
Do you find I feel like a lot of people will talk about this, or you'll kind of see it, and so I feel like it's a thing, but maybe it's also a result or mirroring of the owner / trainer. Do all dogs pretty much have like their own unique little different personality? I know you said each of them kind of might have their own unique little tick or whatever that makes them get really excited, but like I know I've seen some dogs, like I've got some friends, I just saw them this last weekend. They've got a golden retriever, and I'm 99.99% certain they've done little to zero training with it, but it's just a naturally like pretty calm, relaxed dog. And then you see other people who are working, and they still got just cooked out dog. I mean, is that kind of unique to each individual dog? Do they have their own ways?
Definitely. It's just like people. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. And my mentor, he taught me, that's the difference between a good trainer and a great trainer. That great trainer, he can read that dog and see what he's great at. Just like humans, there's things that some humans are good at. I'm never going to be I'm 5'9". I'm never going to play NBA. I'm not going to be a basketball player. We might as well work on something that I'm decent at. Playing with dogs, petting dogs daily. I figured that out. Yeah. But and it's just like with these dogs, you got to see what makes them tick and what they're good at. And some dogs, I get sent to them and they want to be field trial dogs. And I tell the owners, he might be a great CNI dog, but he's not a field trial dog. And right the opposite. I get a lot of these obedience dogs in and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish this guy would run field trials with this dog. He's just amazing. He's a marker. That's what he's good at. And, to be a great trainer, that's one thing I had to learn, that you got to read the dog and work with his strengths and not go against the grain and try to make him into something that he'll never be.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. For the basic obedient gun dog, you can pretty much get away with pretty much all dogs. We rarely ever wash a 4-month gun dog out. Rarely ever. We can get them, but we got to find out what they like to do, how they like to be trained. A lot of guys. A lot of my younger trainers that are apprenticing in our program, they want to train the same way with every dog. And that's why it's hard to read this stuff in a book. You have to cope and bend, and each dog you train different. I might have 20 dogs on a truck, and every single dog I train a little different.
Okay. Wow. Well, that was going to be one of my questions: is how does one train a dog? But yeah, or how do dogs learn? Which I'm sure makes that's a difficult question to ask when you say each one learns differently. Are there things that are pretty much universal across dogs with how they learn? I mean, obviously, one of the tricks is they don't really know English, or they don't speak it, or you can kind of teach them some words, but it's still to them like they're never going to figure out our whole language or how to communicate perfectly with us. So how do they learn?
You just got to figure out what he likes. A lot of these retrievers, they're bred to retrieve. So that's going to be the thing that makes him happy. if I can make him happy when I'm teaching him a task, that's what I want to work on him with. A husky, he's bred to pull, with tug of war, a bite dog, your Rottweilers, your pits, your dogs like that. He wants to play a little tug of war with you. Whatever makes them, the Malinois, they want to play tug of war. Whatever makes him happy. The bird dogs, a lot of people want to teach that German short hair to be a duck dog. Well, he wasn't bred to sit still. He's bred to roll. We do quail hunts here, and they run in a half-day quail hunt. They'll run 20 to 40 miles in a 3-hour span. I mean, they are bred to roll. So if after his lesson, when we're done with a short hair or English pointer or, a Vizsla, we get on the four-wheeler and let them run, let them stretch their legs. And the retrievers, we let them retrieve. And that's when we're asking them to do something and to do it good. And we say, okay, good job. You complied. You were compliant. You were a good boy. You weren't trying to be a jerk. I'm going to give you what you want, and I'm going to. It's not like every single dog is totally from black and white different on how we train them. We train them very similar, but to maximize their potential, each dog needs to be trained a little different.
Mm-hmm. Now, I noticed you didn't say, like, every time they do something good, we give them a bunch of treats.
Right. No, we don't treat train. At a young age, I like to treat train, because that's what their little brains tell them to do, that, food and water and sleep, that's all they know. But as they get older, we want that tick to be something that we can do for them that is towards what they're going to do, meaning the retriever to retrieve, the bird dog to run, the Malinois to pull, the husky to pull, I don't like treats. At an older age dog, a mature dog, some people use them and it's okay, but I'm also very concerned with how many calories each dog gets. Treats, it's surprising. A lot of my owners will come in here and their dog will be fat. And I said, Brad, I only give him a cup a day. Well, say he's giving him, this is just a random number, but 200 or 300, 400 calories. But then through the treats, he's giving him an additional 800 because he gives him so many treats. That's another reason. But I like the retriever to do the task at hand because I tell him good boy, because I love him on his back, not run up to me and say, okay, give me a treat. I want him to do it because he respects me and he loves me and he's trying to please me. And when you can flip that switch from treats to trying to please the owner, you get a lot more out of them than a treat.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about loving on a dog too, and I think, if you have a dog or think about getting a dog, one of the joys of having a dog is you love on that dog and you love it. But I've talked to some guys that are like, oh yeah, I try to limit that, and then other people are like, no, I do it as much as I want. Like, is there too much? Can you love on that dog too much, or should you dial it back, even though maybe you want to, or does it matter?
Not at all. Not at all. You can love on them as much as possible, as much as you would like. The problem is you have to do the work and the loving so much that they can differentiate the two. And what I show a lot of my owners before they go home, I'll get down there on the ground and roll and love on them, and their tail will be wagging. He'll be, play growling with me and everything. And I'll stand up and I'll say, heel, just that soft, heel, sit. I'll throw a bumper. He won't even break. I'll shoot a gun. He won't break. I'll say, Axel. He goes out there, does his job, comes back, and that fast he's back in work mode. And, it takes time, but, I can play with you. But when I say the command or the task at hand, let's do it right. Let's do it like a gentleman or a lady with style, meaning ears up, tail wagging, no tail tucked, no ears down, with style, looking good, looking like we're having fun. And if we're not having fun doing it, the trainer or the owner needs to figure out how to make that dog have fun and get the job done at the same time. And if he doesn't look like he's having fun, we're training wrong.
Okay. That makes sense. It all makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, how do I even explain it? that's nice, because I feel like a lot of times when people hear about training and establishing yourself as the dominant one or the alpha and all that, they always, their mind immediately goes to, but I don't want to break his spirit, I don't want to be a jerk, I don't, like the dog is so fun and cute and waggy, and now I'm going to turn it into just this somber thing. It's like, well, like you said, if the dog doesn't look like it's having a great time and a happy dog, then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, a lot of young trainers, and I'll be honest, I'm guilty of it in my younger years, that, I thought I had to make them do everything instead of, and a lot of when younger dogs, you want to almost make it their idea. But one thing all of my team knows, we walk through the kennel, there's 120 dogs on the property right here in Georgia. When we walk through the kennel, every single dog, when you go up to his gate, better be wagging his tail. And it has to be that way. And if it's not, our whole team, I'll put every trainer on it and myself until we figure out what makes him happy. And he can't be gloomy. He can't be upset. He can't, and health comes first. He's got to be healthy. That's going to make him not feel good. But after health, then we got to find out what makes him happy. And if he's not happy, that's not good. But because a lot of guys think that you got to be a tough guy. I'm going to show him. He's going to sit right there, and then when I throw it, he's going to sit till I say his name, and his tail's down, his ears are down. He looks, this is miserable. This is no fun. And I've seen that my whole life, and a lot of guys, I hate to say it, in our profession do it that way, but that's not correct. And that's not the way to maximize the potential of every single dog. You got to make them want to do it and have fun while they're doing the task at hand.
Yeah. With 120 dogs, on the property that are getting trained, do you almost run it like, I mean, I know they're classes, but do you have like all, these 10 dogs are at this stage and these 10 dogs are at this stage, or is it just every dog is an individual and they're where they're at in the program at any given time?
No, we did, to maximize our time. We're out there before daylight. Everybody gets in the airing yard in their kind of age group. The young puppies that just came in, that'll be a small group. And then, the older dogs that have been there over 6 or 7 months, there might be 40 or 50 dogs in the airing yard at one time. And they love that. We got a pool out there for them, and they're playing and getting wet and running around. So they love that, and that makes them happy. And then after we load them on trucks, of course, we got a schedule with that many dogs and this many people working and customers walking out to get ready to go out in the field and where they're going. There's a schedule. It's pretty complex. But after we get out there, yes, all the young dogs work on certain tasks, obedience, leash training. And then mid-level dogs, retrieving, marking, how to mark, how to hunt, how to set up hunt patterns. Then you got tracking with the gun barrel, then marking multiples, then hand signals. The upland dogs go with the upland guy for that day. And, our trainers, they rotate where all the dogs are seen by everyone, including myself and my manager. And, but yeah, every dog has a category that he's in. It would be tough on us as trainers to go back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need like 120 trainers.
You're right. Here's another question I have. I mean, can you? Okay, I'm gonna create a scenario here. Like a person, maybe they've got a lab, and it's just a family dog. They didn't have an interest in hunting. They didn't hunt the dog, and the dog's just been house dog. Maybe not trained a little bit, but maybe not anything super specific. Can you teach an old dog new tricks? I mean, if let's say it's a 3 or 4 year old dog, maybe they had to move, maybe they had to do something where they couldn't have a dog anymore. You inherit this dog, and you want it to be a hunting dog. I mean, is that a possibility?
It is. So the old wives' tale, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's definitely false. We have a lot of older dogs that they bought, and it's just a pet, and it hangs out in the backyard. They got a fenced-in area, and the lab runs back there till he's 2 or 3, and the guy gets, maybe the young boy, he grows a little older and he gets into duck hunting, and they say, hey, let's turn this into a duck dog or whatever the reason, and then or he just gets too rural. and they want to send him off for obedience. We train a lot of older dogs, a lot of older dogs. But that goes back to how we bring them up, the socializing. Some of those steps may have been skipped, so we have to go back and revisit a lot of that stuff to make sure that the foundation is built properly. And it may take a little longer to go back and do some of that stuff that you would think would have already been done with an older dog. But the process from a young pup and a process of getting a raw 4-year-old's pretty much the same.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
That is cool. I thought you were going to bring up a hypothetical scenario about a different potential gun dog.
Well, yeah. Here's a question. Can virtually any dog become a sporting dog? I'm asking for a friend. We have a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, so it's got some Spaniel. We've talked about it on the podcast several times. I feel like it actually when we're reading about the breed, my wife wanted to get a family dog for the girls and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. That'll be good for the girls.
You were like, yeah, let's get a lab, and she was like, hey, cool, here's this little purse dog.
Yeah, it's not a purse dog. It's bigger than your average purse. But when I was reading about it, all the warnings are like, be careful. This dog has some spaniel in it. It's going to have some hunting instinct. And in my head, I've got my fingers crossed. Well, I certainly hope so. Are you familiar with that breed at all? Is there hope? It's not big. Maybe it could retrieve a quail or something.
It's pretty funny. We've trained, I would say, probably 25 or 30 over the years.
Of that kind?
Yes, sir. We have. It's all been obedience, though.
Well, we need to work on that too. So maybe we're gonna ship her off.
That's right. But just like you said, and what I've talked about, every one of them have a tick. So if you could get that puppy just by taking a little toy and getting it retrieving in the living room on the carpet and getting the puppy going out there, picking it up and bringing it back. I have a Jack Russell that will retrieve ducks as good as any lab, far as hunting. So if you can get them to retrieve and stuff, there was a time that I wanted to take every breed out there. I wanted to train every breed out there because I wanted to show everybody that I could train it. And that competitive side of me is what's always driven me into training. But I feel like I could train any dog to do anything. But every dog's built different. A lot of people try to take these German short hairs and some of these other dogs and make them duck dogs. Well, their body's just not made up to fight the cold water. And, they're good during teal season, good during dove season. But when it gets cold, man, they're just not made for it. So that small breed is definitely not built for the cold. But a little quail dog with the spaniel in it, I can see you could definitely get it to retrieve a little quail or a dove. As long as you could teach it start with a little toy and get it retrieving, bringing it back to you, praising it when it brought it back properly, and then teaching it how to bring it back properly. And a lot of our spaniels, we don't force fetch. Force fetch is a training method that we teach a lot of our labs and our short hairs and those dogs actually how to hold it properly. But a lot of our spaniels, our cockers and stuff like that, and our boykins, we teach through attrition, just teach them how to hold it and bring it back, deliver it to hand. Even at heel, it looks the same, but it's taught different. And that's how I would recommend if somebody called me and said, hey, I want to teach this dog to go out there and retrieve my dove during dove season and pick them up. But yes, if you called me and said, hey, Brad, would you do it? I wouldn't give you a time frame, but yeah, I could do it.
That sounds good. I will say we were out in the yard the other day, man, and there were some birds in the yard, and she was fired up, interested in those birds. Like she was like, and I was like, oh, I see a little glimmer in your eye,
Boy, Mark, I tell you what, it'd be a real sight to see.
Dare to dream, Jim.
I don't think we could put the little Cavalier with Belding on the Fowl life, though. I don't think we'd get very good reviews for that.
It might get a lot of views, not great reviews.
You might be right. Might make us all famous.
Oh man, yeah, that's right.
What do you think, Chad? Do some December ducking with Scarlet, the Ruby Cavalier?
I could see Axel with a little vest on that's got a backpack style vest with her on his back.
Yeah, just do a little ride along.
There you go.
Y'all ever been to any rodeos where they put that little monkey on the dog's back and they herd all the horses and cattle together? You guys ever seen that? It kind of be the same deal.
I
That's
haven't,
awesome.
but I may look that up now.
It'd be a very similar situation.
Sounds like a sight to see.
What's Brad? What's your favorite breed to work with? Maybe that's a super terrible question to
that's a
ask
loaded
somebody
question,
like yourself.
Jim.
It can depend, I'm sure, on what it is that they're trying to do. But what's one or a few that you really like?
Man, I don't know. You know, I grew up on hounds and bird dogs. And I just like a good dog. Of course, with the business, more retrievers come our way than any other breed.
Yeah.
So the lab, that guy, he's hard to beat. But I love good dogs. We have me and my family have a Jack Russell. I have a personal lab as well. My boy has a competitive lab at the Kennel. But I've had a lot of great dogs and a lot of great breeds over the years, through the years. You know, I'm a hound guy too, you know, a good blue tick. I got several blue ticks, and I got probably 20 beagles. I love good dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
A cool breed that is not very popular. You don't see a lot of them out there, but I've never trained a bad one. And that's crazy because I've trained bad ones in every other breed, but I have never trained. I've probably trained 50. I've never trained a bad Drothire. And
I've never even heard of that.
You know, it's a wired-haired, multicolored, has a dock tail, looks kind of like a German short hair. It looks like a German wire hair pointer, but it'll point, it'll retrieve ducks. The coat's built for the water as well. It beads water, sheds water, and it'll track big game. It'll blood trail. It's a really cool dog. So, I mean, if I had to pick one, I would say a Drothire is pretty cool.
Dude,
Man, that sounds super cool.
That does sound cool. You know, when you're talking about, you know, like maybe you're training a lab to be a retriever, a duck dog, and then kind of like, you know, like more of like the field trial stuff. How does that, it sounds like there might be some, well, I'm sure they're similar, but maybe some different methods. How does that translate over? If you've got a dog that's, you know, you're really into doing competitions and things like that, can you take that dog to the field and they're going to be a great duck dog, or are there some differences there?
You know, a lot of people always say, well, the first thing they say when they call me, you know, just a good old boy that hunts, he says, I don't want a field trial dog. Well, I understand where he's coming from. When I was younger, before I knew more about this, I thought the same thing. But a great field trial dog, it's not just because he likes to go. You know, he's the most intelligent. He has the best eyesight. He has the best nose. He's the best problem solver. He knows how to get himself out of problems in that game that we play, the field trials. So, I mean, a field champion, he's the best of the best. He's the best one out there. He just plays a different game. Instead of duck, like for us, we shooting ducks, he's shooting sporting clays. It's just a game we play with when we can't hunt. So, no, a field trial dog, man, a national field champion, he beats every other dog. I mean, he is the best. Now, don't get me wrong. You have to teach him. If he's never taught how to hunt, you know, he might not hunt great if you take him out there the first time. If he hadn't been socialized to mechanical decoys, and he hadn't been socialized to riding in a boat and all that. But no, they are trained differently, but a lot of the things are the same as well. But a field champion or a master hunter or a hunt and retriever champion or a SRS champion, that's just like Mr. Chad and Axel. I mean, Axel's one of the best out there at all the games that he plays. And when you put him in the field, it shows why. I mean, he's compliant. He's not a jerk. He works with you. He knows how to work himself out of problems. If he gets out there, he knows how to, he's got a good nose. If he gets there and the cripple's crawled off, he knows how to figure it out. He doesn't go out there and go brain dead. If he wasn't able to achieve these titles that he's achieved, he might get out there and the crippled off, and he'd be like, well, it's not here, boss, and come running back. But he's smarter than most. He's smarter than the next dog in the kennel. And that, yes, the competitive style dogs that achieve these titles, they're better than the one that's not.
Wow.
Gotcha. Chad, of all of the dogs that you've had, have you had all labs, or have you mixed it up a little bit, or what? I guess what's your dog history?
I grew up with Goldens retrievers. My dad and mom loved them. My mom still has one. Still love them, but I just took a lot of liking to labs. I love the build that Axel is. He's a 65-pound lab. He's got pretty slick coat on him that doesn't get caught up on much, and just the whole disposition and the personality. And Brad's touched on it, is just they aim to please. They'll love on you. I mean, I've cuddled this dog and spooned this dog. He spooned me. I've been the big and the little, and he's just got a
That's
loving
part of that socialization.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a loving personality. And then when he flips that switch, it's good night. It's just a joy to watch. So I've seen that with labs, and we have several labs right now. Obviously, I'm partial to Axel just because he's just a different blood type, man. That if you've seen the movie The Black Stallion, or if you Google the Black Stallion and you look at the cover art of it, that's Axel waiting to go into the kennel or come out of the kennel or go into the truck. Like, he's up on his back legs. He's looking at you like, come on, this is taking too long. And it's just a joy. And then when you say heel, when you say sit, he's boom. And then when you say place, he doesn't move a muscle. He's just such a respectful, well-mannered dog. And so I'm partial. I mean, I haven't been around all of these different breedings that Brad has been around. I'm sure I'd fall in love with a lot of them, but labs are my number one for sure.
Well, now I'm just curious because you got to ask about your dog. I'm learning more about setters, having two of them now. What have you found about setters? My wife and I got our first one. The first one I've ever been around. I've been around golden retrievers. Otherwise, the rest of my land, corgis, oddly enough. But she met one in a park once and loved it. And I always thought setters were kind of neat dogs. We got a Gordon, who's 3 now, super good dog. And now our new puppy is 7 months old and who's actually off doing some work for being a bird dog. He's 7 months old. He's an English setter. What have you found with those? I'm guessing you've probably seen them come through.
A lot. Yeah, we actually run a lot here on the quail, for the quail and the quail plantation, but they're good. They're not dogs that you can force into something. They're sweet dogs. They're great companions for you and the family. Mm-hmm. They're dogs that you need to kind of make it their way. Don't push. If you're trying to show them something, don't push it. Take the time. Be patient with them. But after you get them trained, man, there's some stylish, beautiful, loving dogs. I run a lot of them. I like a Llewellyn setter, a red setter, which you don't see many anymore. Trained several Gordons, and they're beautiful. I mean, you got to get the cuckleburs out of there.
Yeah, I know. You got to keep them short, or else you just basically spend as much time cleaning them as you did doing anything with them. But yeah, I've heard they're kind of, and I've experienced this, they are a bit slow at picking stuff up. But, and I don't know if it's just because for whatever reason, but I have noticed that. But once they get it down, they are locked in on whatever they've gotten down over, if you work on them for a while. It's like,
yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you're exactly right. It takes longer sometimes with them, but after you get them, I mean, they're just as good as anything. But a lot of people compare them to a German short hair or the other pointing breeds, and those dogs are just different. I mean, it doesn't make the short hair any better than the Gordon. I mean, the Gordons are great. They're just, you got to train them different. You send them to an English pointer trainer that all he's trained is English pointers. Unless he's really good, really knowledgeable, or older gentleman, it's probably not going to go well.
Yeah.
They're just, you train them different. and you got to have a lot of patience and a lot of time in the field, probably hours. Probably won't be that much different. It's a little different how you approach those style dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, loving too. They're the cuddliest dogs I've ever had in my entire life. That's all they want to do. It's just like God.
Yeah, not many English pointers you're going to have on your couch. So they're definitely different.
Yeah.
I know our dog, the Cavalier. They're bred to be, from what I read, the lap dogs of royalty. And I mean, that dog, she is at home. Like she sees a lap, she is on it, and she's like, and I'm just like, I guess you're just doing your job.
She's got it figured out.
Yep.
Yeah. Just start making it so that she comes back to a lap with a quail in her mouth.
There you go.
Then
there you go. That'll be the trick.
Maybe that's
our
her
next
tick.
trick.
That's her tick, getting in a lap, right? Oh, you did good.
Yeah. Boop. There. Pop on up for a minute. Awesome, guys. Real quick, Chad, I mean, you've hunted, well, I'm sure both of you guys have hunted a lot, but Chad, I mean, obviously with Fowl Life TV, and I mean, you got so much stuff going on with the podcast and everything, but like, what's your favorite thing about hunting with a dog?
It's a spectacle, man. I like the showmanship of it, and I also like the conservation piece of it. I think that you have a tool that is your best friend, and when he turns that switch or she turns that switch, you just can be rest assured that you're going to enjoy the hunt that much more. I think that we touched on it a little bit, but I don't want to sound snooty, but I've become very critical of dogs that the owners and the handlers have not taken the time to train the right way or get trained. And a lot of people would say, well, who are you to tell me that? And I'm nobody. But I just say that if you get an experience where you see it done right, it's a pleasure. And a whining dog, a squealing dog, a dog that's all over the pit blind and taking the chance to knock a gun over, and he doesn't listen to his handler. There's a real issue with that, in my opinion, because we are dealing with loaded weapons, and I like the ability or the idea of a dog that listens. And then once the guns go off and the birds go down, guys, it's amazing to see a dog like Axel and several that have come out of Brad and Mossy Pond, what they can do. It's an amazing thing to know that 4 ducks die in your decoy hole where they're supposed to be. But then a couple of them fall outside of it, and then there might be a cripple one 800 yards, and Brad steps out of the blind with his whistle, and me, hopefully, in the next year I can do this, and all 8 of those ducks are back in the next 6 or 7 minutes, and we're ready for the next flock to come in. Gosh, and everybody's safe, and all the birds are on the strap, and Axel's looking at you like, come on, y'all only got 8? It's an amazing experience and spectacle to see. So my favorite part of it is the conservation and the spectacle that it becomes.
Yeah, I mean, that does sound amazingly impressive, and it just, all the stuff that we've talked about during this podcast, and you kind of talking about a scenario like that, and just all that work and all those puzzle pieces come together and just culminating in this one super dynamic, complex, distracting moment. I
mean,
that's what it's all for right there.
Well, if you think about how you are, and you both have kids, and so does Brad. I saw my daughter put this move on a kid in jiu-jitsu the other day that brought a tear to my eye. Okay, I've had dog owners call me. We had a chocolate lab named Rufus. Was it Rufus? Brad, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, sir.
We had chocolate lab out of the East Coast that Brad brought on a trip, and his owner sent me a personal message. When they saw this dog on the Fowl Life, they cried because they were so proud of what it was doing. And I think that is the coolest part, is that you become so attached that you get a tear in your eye when you see them do good, and you just are like, man, this is what duck hunting is all about. Or when they're pointing quail, I live in Nevada. I've seen pointers honor each other on chuck or partridge up in the rim rocks, where your mind is blown. And I think it just adds a completely different level to the hunt on many occasions.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to step back sometimes, even if it's a dog that's just hanging out at your house or whatever, and you just look at it and you're like, that is a different species. Doesn't like, I don't even know. I mean, it's not the same thing as we are at all, but somehow you can figure out how to work with them. It's incredible.
It's a cool connection for sure. And it's a cool connection when done right, with like what Brad and Chad are doing with these dogs. I mean, that's a very, very special, cool, unique thing.
I mean, who's out there getting a cat to retrieve a a bird. It just like, I don't know. Maybe it happens. If you're out there, it's probably on YouTube. I just got to YouTube it, and somebody's got something up there.
I've seen many a hound's tree a mountain lion cat.
Yeah, the reverse happens. There you go.
Yeah.
Use dog to hunt a cat. Super cool.
But
are you saying in so many words, Jim, that you don't like cats?
I mean, I was kind of beating around the bush a little bit, but I thought about at one point in time.
They're good for people who like cats.
Right.
If you have mice.
Exactly. At one point in time, I thought about having a cat outside that would just hunt mice, and then I was like, yeah, but then I'd have to have a cat. So that's that.
That's that.
That answered that question.
Hey, you guys picture this real quick, and I'll quit talking. Picture a truck pulling a trailer that has 10 labs on it that are all going to the number one gymnastic event in the world, or the number one contest, or the competitiveness, or the tryout. Like this is happening daily, guys. These trucks are rolling down the road with these trailers with all of these separate kennels in them. And when Brad stops and he opens the door and that dog comes out, that dog, male or female, knows it's go time. And then he goes back in that box, and the next box is open, and that one comes out. And they're like, literally, this is happening. These dogs are high-powered athletes that are traveling around our country and all the different regions of America and different countries, I'm sure, but it's happening right now. There's Clark is out there with a dog right now. Lee Howard's out there with a dog right now at Mossy Pond, and they're high-level athletes that are training on a daily basis to be the best they can, and we take that for granted, man. These dogs are working nonstop, and when you see them come out of that trailer and get a ribbon, you're like, holy smokes, man, this is the coolest that it can get in the hunting world.
That is cool.
That's awesome, man.
Dogs are cool. I love dogs.
Any more questions, Jim?
No, I don't have anything else. I can't. No, I mean, we could literally we could talk your ear off about different breeds all day, I'm sure, because I'm so curious about, like, because I always just think, the fact that we have so many dog breeds and different specialties that they all have is amazing. But we won't do that, because that's another podcast for another time, and we could go on forever. But really, really awesome stuff. Thank you guys for coming on. Appreciate it, Brad. Thanks a lot.
Tons of great information, guys. Yeah, thank you so much. And I've got lots of ideas for what I can do with my dog now.
Absolutely. Anything else from you guys before we close this one out?
Mr. Mark, Mr. Jim, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for having me on. Mr. Chad, thank you for all that you do for me in the business. And I just appreciate this opportunity to come on here and talk with you guys, and would love to be invited back anytime. I appreciate all that y'all do for me.
No, man, we'll have to do it again. Like we said, there's the topics are infinite when it comes to this, and there's so much interest in it, and so many people have dogs, and such a connection that people have. So I think we definitely have to do it again. And if anybody's interested in watching some awesome waterfowl hunting, check out the Fowl Life. If you want to hear some awesome podcasts, go to Chad's podcast. This Life Ain't For Anybody. And if you've got a dog that you want to turn into a great hunting dog, check out Mossy Pond.
Yeah. And for the listeners out there, too, this is the first time we've done a podcast dedicated to, well, other than the blood tracking dog one.
Yeah. No.
That was a really cool one. You should go back and listen to that. But this is one of the first ones we've gone into training dogs. Let us know if there's other stuff you want to hear. Maybe we can get the guys back. So drop that in the comments, too.
Awesome.
With that said, I think we'll cap this one. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We appreciate it. Catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, guys.
There you have it, folks. Thank you very much for listening. As usual, give this video a like if you liked it, comment something below, and give us a subscribe to the Vortex Nation podcast channel. It would mean a lot to us. Also, why don't you give us a follow over on Instagram while you're at it, at Vortex Nation Podcast. We'd love to hear from you over there, and we'll keep you updated with all kinds of cool photos and videos from our adventures that we do here. Otherwise, we will see you on the next one. Thank you again. Happy hunting and shooting, everybody. Have a good one.